Hi, everybody, and welcome again to the Athleticademix podcast. I'm David here in London, and Robin's with us over in Sweden.
Hey, guys.
And today we're going to be speaking about the track and field layout in the States, how a season looks, the ins and outs of competition, and how it works, basically. And I'm going to be asking Robin some questions about it, and he's going to give us the lowdown on track and field at college. Those of you that will have listened yesterday, we did very much the same with college soccer, and throughout the week we'll be posting a few more podcasts on various sports. But for you listeners today that are interested to hear about track and field, hopefully this gives you a lot of info that's insightful. So without further ado, let's kick things off, Robin. So do you want to just start by telling us a little bit about the college track and field season and the differences and kind of details around that?
Yeah, of course. So in terms of track and field, it's one of the few sports that has 2 seasons at college, and the reason being is it's the same like we do in Europe or wherever, that it is an indoor season and an outdoor season. So the indoor season is from December to March, and the outdoor season is from March to May. So you switch from indoor to outdoor quite straight away in the middle of the spring, and in the fall you have preseason, you take care of school, but you do not go to any invitationals until early winter. So the first semester at college for a track athlete will be preseason, it will be school, and then during winter and the spring they'll head out to season.
Okay, cool. And so in terms of the competition format, what's that like when you attend a competition, whether it be in the conference or later on in regionals and nationals? Explain kind of how a competition looks like.
Yeah, sure. So track and field is a bit different as you compete both individually but also as a team. So I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible. When you compete during the regular season, you do compete as a team. So when you're at different meets, you do compete as a team, which means that you have a meet with 4 to 5 schools, and all of those schools are competing against each other. So they do 100 meters, 200 meters, hurdles, long jump, you name it. It's a lot of events during the weekend there. Then they get scores from each final event. You get scores from where you placed in the events, and you then add up all the points and you get a final winner. So you compete as a team during the regular season up until the conference championship, where you will try to become the conference champion. So that's like the crunch time, the business end type of competition. That's where the schools wants to win. So whenever the conference is done, you either become a conference champion as a team or you don't. And then you have, that's the team perspective of it. So you compete as a team throughout the whole season. But then throughout the whole season, they then go into a new part of the season, which is called the NCAA regionals. So the 48 athletes in each event on each coast. So that is 96 athletes. So 48 on the East Coast, 48 on the West Coast. The best 48 athletes in each result, they are being called up to the NCAA regionals competition, which is an individual competition. So as a track athlete, you have 2 goals, or 3 goals really, but first goal is to win the conference championship, and the second goal is to qualify for the NCAA regional as an individual athlete. Then you have 2 regionals, one on the West Coast, one on the East Coast, and then you have a certain amount of athletes that qualifies in that competition, the NCAA regional. They send only a select few to the national championship. So then you gather the best from the East regionals, the best from the West regionals, once again as individuals. So you want to compete in the national tournament. You then have a national championship meet where the best ones from the NCAA regionals, East Coast, NCAA West Coast, are placed together in a meet. In that meet, you core a national champion in each event individually, and then you do a calculation at the end of the meet in what school scored the most point. So the school itself does not qualify for the national champion. That does the individuals, but the school itself, they get points for the national championship. So the school who has the most individuals at the national championship, who gets the highest places to get most points, that school becomes the national championship. So it's an individual and a team sport in track and field.
And just to be clear on when the indoor seasons in the national championship would be taking place in the spring, right? In March.
Yeah, in March, and then the outdoor nationals is late May, early June.
Yeah. Okay. So they kind of run into each other, don't they? The indoor season finishes, and there's very, very little break before the outdoor season begins, or preparations certainly begin for the outdoor season.
Yeah, and it's kind of the same attitude in terms of the different season as it is in the whole world. Otherwise, that the outdoor national championship is the main goal, and the indoor national championship is kind of a step towards it.
Yeah. Okay. So how about the roster sizes and how much scholarship is available throughout the different divisions and organizations on the men's and the women's side? Do you want to just kind of speak to that a little bit and explain the comparisons?
Yeah, so the roster size in each gender is usually quite the same. There are usually around 35 to 40 athletes in each roster. So 35 women's track athletes and 35 men's track athletes, and they usually practice together as one whole team. So you can just imagine how big of a track and field team is. It could be 70 to 80 people in both with both genders. And looking at it, like you explained yesterday, is that each division has a set of maximum scholarships. So everyone in each division, they compete with the same type of rules, with a maximum number of scholarships. So looking at the women's side, you do have a roster of 35 to 40 athletes, and they can give out 18 scholarships as a maximum. On the men's side, they can give out 12.6 scholarships as a maximum. If we go down one level to D2, the women's and the men's have the same amount of scholarships, so that is 12.6 again. And in the NAIA level, the women's and men's also receive the same amount of scholarships, which is 12 scholarships. So looking at it once again is that if you are in a program that has a good economical background and can give out the full 18 scholarships, which is not always the case, there could be plenty of programs in D1 where they can only give out 9 scholarships, even though they are allowed to give out 18. You do see that not everyone on a track and field squad has a scholarship, and very few of them have full scholarships. But once again, if you combine your academic scholarships that you hopefully get awarded with good grades, and then combine it with a track scholarship, you can usually find really good options and sometimes a full scholarship with all combined.
Okay, that's great. And just lastly, how do college coaches assess recruits? So what are they kind of looking for from prospective student athletes, and what kind of qualifies you to be looking for substantial or even full scholarships as an international track and field athlete?
Yeah, so here it differs a little bit in terms of how well funded is the program. So let's say it's a low funded program where they can't give out that many scholarships. Then they would want you to be very, very versatile and be able to pick points in a meet in maybe 3 events is quite standard and a norm. So let's say you are a sprinter, then they would want you to take points in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and maybe in the as a long jumper, for example, as our Swedish athlete Josephine does. She does 100, 200 and long jump. That's perfect for her, and she is an exciting prospect because of her doing different types of events. If you do solely one event, or if you're specialized in one event and solely wants to compete in one event, then you need to be the best in the conference, basically. So then the coach will need to or he or she will expect you to win the conference in order to get the maximum amount of points. So they are looking for both. So if you are specialized in one event, make sure to be the best in the event, in that conference, not only in the team, but in that conference. If you're not the best in the conference, make sure to be top 8 in 2 or 3 events. That's a type of results you need in order to be an exciting prospect for track and field.
Yeah, and it must also, it has some impact is placed on the squad that the coach has available to him or her already, doesn't it? And if, for example, if you're a top high jumper, but they already have 2 elite high jumpers that have been winning the conference, whereas you could probably win the conference there as well. They just don't have a need to spend the money on you, particularly for that recruiting year. So that's where being a little bit versatile and diverse and being able to compete in various events is going to massively benefit you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a bit of timing and luck as well, that the school you might dream of, they also will need an athlete in your event.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Okay. So if anybody has any further questions or wants some more info, where can they go to find that, Robin?
They can read on our respective blog. I blog in Swedish, you blog in English. We've written a bit about track. They can go into our website and look at the menu bar where you can find sports-related information about different sports where we both have a track and field tab. So I would suggest the blog or our website for the most insight possible.
Yeah, and also reach out to us too in your respective countries. Never be afraid to send us an email or a DM, social media. We're always happy to answer questions. But hopefully that gave you some great insight into how track and field works at college in the States. And we hope to help many more of you go and achieve your goals out there doing it.